control structures, we will be talking about the if then else. Okay, so how does it work? Let's take it here. So let's say we have statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, statement 4, statement 5, and statement 6. Let's pretend we have the 6 statements, and the sometimes when we complete the execution of the statement 2, we might have to check for a certain conditions that are conducive for executing statement 3 and 4. We might have to check conditions before we execute 3 and 4. That kind of checking prior to executing a statements is what we do with using if then else. Okay, and so for that what we do is we check a conditions here. Okay, forget about the drawing here. So here we come to ask a condition, check a condition. Okay, and if the condition is true, we'll execute these 2 statements. If it is true, alright, we'll execute these 2 statements. But if the condition is false, we just skip the rest of the 3 and 4 statements and we jump to 5 and 6. So this is the standard way in all programming languages, including C language. This is how it's done. And the way we check for conditions, right? There are 2 ways in C language. Okay, one is check the conditions for true or false, or evaluate expressions for true or false. Okay, in general this is very unique to C language, the second part, evaluate expressions for true or false. So I'll just skim through the first part because you probably taken Java class before. Let's go back to our, so let's just check, go over the first method. Okay, so these are the if condition is evaluates to true or false using the relational operators. Okay, the relational operators or conditional operators, we have a couple of them. One is the greater than or equal, greater than, equal, less than, equal to, less than, not equal, and then we also have the logical or and logical and. Let's just take one example and just wrap up the first method. Okay, let's go here. So let's check, let's say we have expression x is equal to say 5, y equal to maybe 3, and z equal to maybe 0. And let's pretend we have a condition if. So these are 3 simple statements we already have. Okay, and we're going to write a relational condition using a relational operator. If x is greater than y, we say z equal to 2, and else z equal to 1. Okay, so here this is a, now going back to the diagram. So we have statements 1, 2, 3, right? and then we are checking the condition. So that's what I said, the drawing. If you go back, we're checking the condition, is x greater than y. Alright, if it is true, we execute the statement z equal to 2. That is if it is true. Okay, and this could be more statements too. This could be compound statement. We'll go over what a compound statement is. And then if it is false, then we execute the z equal to 1. And let's say we go back and say again x equal to 6, y equal to 2. Okay, so if you take these statements, right, so we have executed the first 3 statements here. Then we took we're checking the conditions, and based on the condition, if it is true, we execute that, and if it is false, we execute that, right? And then we go back and start executing the rest of the program here. X equal to 6, y equal to 2. Okay, so this the way it's done in most of the programming languages. And the relational operators we used here is the greater than symbol. So this conditional expression can be anything, right? So this conditional expression, maybe we can change it to something else. It could be x greater than or equal to maybe 0. Alright, so you guys have done this before, so I'll just skip through all this. Okay, so let's take the next example. Okay, some of the things is the else. Sometimes you may not have the else part. Okay, it depends upon your application, what you're trying to do. So this could be an optional part. Alright, and sometimes you might have to check several conditions before you execute these statements. For instance, I'll just erase that guy. Okay, and sometimes else, if y is greater than or equal to 0, you might have to say if else if z is greater than or equal to 0, then do something like that. Okay, so you see the syntax here. When you use the else part, if you want to check some more conditions, you need to have if there. Alright, and see how the syntax is, and see how I'm using the conditions here, using relational operators. Okay, alright, so I'm just browsing through this topic because you're done in the past. So let's me let me go back and see how we do in the second way in the C languages, which is very unique to C language and the C++, of course. Here, the second is evaluating expressions for true or false. Okay, evaluating expressions for true or false. Expressions when evaluated results in two values. Okay, great. One is non-zero and a zero. I'm sorry. Expressions when evaluated results in two values. One is non-zero and zero. When it's non-zero, it is true. Okay, this is very key that you have to remember. And zero means false. Okay, what does it mean? Let's go back here. There is that. So you have an expression, something like, say, just make it like that. So this is an expression, right? And the whole thing is a statement. Okay? That is how we do in programming languages. This is a statement and this is an expression. So you can evaluate and check what is the value of this expression. When you have, say, y equal to, say 2, so when you plug in these values, what is the resulting value of this expression? Is y plus 2 1 means it is 2 plus 1, which is 3, right? And if it is like, if we go back to the slide, it says non-zero means true, non-zero, okay, and zero means false. Here it is. So this is non-zero, okay, it is a positive, so it is true. Non-zero means true, right? So this is non-zero, so this expression yields positive or true. So if you have a statement, let me go back and erase this guy. If you have a statement, say if y plus 1 x equal to 4, else x equal to 3, let's say. Okay, so let me erase that guy also. So if you look back here, y equal to 2, right? So 2 plus 1 is 3, which is non-zero, that means true. So this will get executed. Go back to our diagram. Right? If it's true, we will execute certain things. If it is false, we execute certain things. That's what we did, right? So here, because this expression yields positive value, x equal to 4 get executed. Alright? So when you come here, when you execute here, the value of x is 4 now, right? So if I put in a comment here, if true, x would be 4, right? And we'll skip that else part. Okay? Now what if I change the value of y to, say, let me erase it. This is first one example. The second one, let's check the second one. Y equal to minus 2. So what happens when y is equal to minus 2? Minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. It's again non-zero. You see that? So again it is true. So if you have y equal to minus 2, we still end up having x equal to 4 when we exit out of this if condition. Okay. Third condition, y equal to minus 1. What happens when y equal to minus 1? Minus 1 plus 1, the expression, right? Expression y plus 1 results in 0. Alright? So what did we say for 0? Means false. Alright? So when y becomes minus 1 here, we end up executing the else part because this becomes false and we'll execute that portion of it. Okay? If false, we'll have x equal to 3. So that is how C language does it. In C language, okay, let me copy this guy to our PowerPoint. Give me a second. Alright. Okay. So that is how it's done. Let me erase this guy. Okay. For expressions, when you have expressions, when you evaluate expressions, okay, if it is non-zero, alright, then we execute the statements. Alright. If else, that is if 0, if the expression yields 0, we execute the else part, or execute the else part. That is the key in C language. Okay, 0 and non-zero. Let's take one more simple example here. Let's say y equal to 0, x equal to 4. Now you tell me what happens if y x equal to 2, else x equal to 1. Now if I say print my x value here, what would be the value? So here y equal to 0, it checks the condition. This itself is by expression. Okay, what is it? It's a 0, so it executes the else part, right? X becomes 1, so when you print, you will have 1 here. Alright, this is the first way. Let's take another example here. What happens when y is minus 10? When you have minus 10, if minus 10, which is non-zero, So here in this case, this is get executed and we'll have x equal to 2. You see the difference between this if condition that we used and the if condition we used in the previous slide, x plus 1. You see that? Both are very valid in C languages. Okay? Okay, if I go back and do it one more time, if let's say y equal to 2, y plus 1, this is also an expression, alright? If y, this is also very good, okay? You could also have if y equal to 0. The different ways of checking, okay? You could also have if y not equal to 0. All these are very valid statements. Here we use the relational operator, or the conditional operator. We use the conditional operator. Here we use expressions to evaluate. Okay, these are very key. Okay, expressions are used here. Here we use expression. Just one variable itself becomes an expression. Okay, and we use here the conditional operator. So that is the difference in C language. In everything, even if you use when you deal with functions, this is where we deal with it. Okay, and we also use the conditional operator. All right. Let me copy this. Now we will take some examples. All right. So we saw that. Okay, let's take this example here. Here we use the relational operator equal. Okay, very standard way. And even for one statement, if you have in the if part, you could use braces. Okay, some people don't, some people they use. It's all your style, right? And here if you have multiple statements to execute in the body of the structure, you should use, of course, the braces. And see here, I used if x greater than 40, I used braces and put a curly braces here, and I have only one printf statement. And else if, see that, else if x greater than 30, I have only one line of code. Right. We went through this process, right? Yeah. So if x equal to 1, obviously this will be executed because this is a positive. If x equal to 0, obviously this won't execute it because x is a 0 value. And here this is a non-zero, and we will execute that, right? Let's look at some here. Okay, this is another way. A lot of people get confused. Let me It'll explain this one. This is a tricky one. Alright, here, let me take this example here. If you look here, x equal to 40 is not equal. Alright, this is again not a good way of programming, but they do it anyway. X equal to, let's say, 40, and I say if x equal to 0, 1 second, my alarm is picking up. Sorry about that, it is too early here in Sacramento. Okay, y equal to, say, 10. Simple, right? So this is a statement also, all right? And what is the expression? Expression is on the right hand side. What did we say? Expression gets evaluated. So this is false because expression is 0. At the same time, it assigns the value of 0 to x. Alright. So if you do a print x, this is a very tricky guy, okay? This is very tricky things. And so this is non-zero, I mean this 0, so this will never be executed, okay? Let's say y equal to 10 in here. And you directly come here, you execute that part, so x will be how much? And let's say print y. If you print the values, you will see x is equal to 0 because it gets assigned to x, and y would be still 10. Oh, let's say y equal to, let's say y equal to 40 also, and y will end up having 40, okay, because we never touched the value of y. So this is a very key tricky question that you might encounter in many exams throughout your life. So let's take another example, okay? Okay, let's look at another example. Same thing, but we changed x equal to 30. So if you look back here, x equal to 30, the right hand side get executed and x get assigned to 30. So x becomes 30 and it's a true because non-zero. So y becomes 10. So when you print here, you will see x equal to 30, y equal to 10. Right? So these are different examples that you will use. So let's go back to look at some problems here. Simple problems. These are syntax problems. If you look at x equal to 40, you might see what is the problem here. If x equal greater 40, that's not true, right? It should be greater than or equal to. Let's look at another problem. Not equal to 40. There's a space in here. You should never have a space between the not equal. You should never have a space between those two operators. All right. What is the problem here? If x equal to 40, print the value of x, else if is missing here. Okay, so that you have to look at it and find out what the problem here. Okay, so that is how if statements gets executed in the C language. We looked at two ways. First way, using the relational operator. The second way, it uses expressions, and we went through several slides and we solved several problems, and I skipped explaining all these operators because I'm sure you learned in other programming languages courses. All right, and we went through how these things get done, and we saw how the C language does it. All right, there you go. Okay, thank you.